Hi everyone, and welcome to my next project, which will be anti-aircraft tank in 1/72 scale. This is going to be part of HobbyLink International and Chris at Braille Scales group build for 2021. All you have to do is build something over the course of the year in 1/72. I've put all the links and details in the description, so if you want to join in and have some fun as well, then click on those links. So let's have a look and see what's in the box. So altogether you get 4 sprues, quite nicely detailed, not a great deal of flash, as you can see from the track links here is link and length. So that's quite nice. We've got the bodywork here as well. Another sprue for the links and another sprue probably for the flak unit itself there. Also comes with some decals on a little decal sheet, and you have a little bit of photo etch as well to go. However, to help me along, I've decided to purchase parts detailing photo etch set, and we'll see how much of this we can use to enhance the model. So looking forward to this little project immensely, so let's get modeling. So the first part of the build was to tackle the front panel. The kit supplies a very nice piece of spare track, which you can quite easily stick on if that's the way you want to go forward. However, I wanted just to add a little bit of interest, as you saw from the stills, and not have the track on there but keep the holder there instead, so that would be a nice feature to paint up, just using the bits of plastic card. And as you can see, there's a few rivets missing, so they were added on. It's quite a simple process at 1/72 scale. All you need to do is just put a little blob of varnish on there, cut the end of a 0.3mm styrene rod into a thin disc, and then add that on, and then that will stay there for you. So that's the first bit done. On to the next. Next came the side pods. As you could see from the stills, the tops of the side pods were very thick, so they were scraped right back, and as you can see, the fit is a lot better now. We also have our first bit of photo etch. Again, as you saw from the stills, it didn't fit, so that was trimmed back using a craft knife and a steel rule, and once all dry, it's been sanded into place. Here there was a join, so again it's a matter of just putting a little bit of extra glue in the join, wait for that to dry fully, and then sand right back, and then you have a nice flat surface to paint on. And similarly with the other pod as well. So I'll get those put onto the main body now. So before we put all of the lower hull together, the final part was to detail the back end. As you saw from the photos, the pipe from the exhaust was badly moulded, so by the time I'd cleaned it up, it looked quite bad. So that was replaced with a 1-inch strip of copper tubing, or steel tubing I should say. On the top here, using drilled out 1mm styrene rod, I just added in the holes, the pipes rather, where the water drains out from inside, and along the bottom here it was just a matter of adding on the kit hooks. So yeah, very happy with that, nicely detailed, and now we can go ahead and put the hull together. So the hull has now been put together. Wasn't too bad. There's a few issues around the back here. I don't know if you can just see the little hole there, and on the other side as well. So all it'll mean is a matter of putting some putty on the inside and sanding that down once dry. But yeah, other than that, all looking good. So the next stage is we're going to have a look at the running gear. These are the details that are given on the actual sprue itself. These are the idlers and the sprockets, and obviously the road wheels. Now, looking on the photo etch set from Part, they actually give you these lovely photo etch parts that you can put on to the idlers and the sprockets. However, it's such small detailing. This is covered in quite a lot of flash, and obviously you have the 3 sprue connectors there as well, as you can see, rather fiddly. So the decision is, do I scrape off all that detail and hope that the PE goes on okay, or do I just clean up this and leave it as is? So I'm going to give it a go with the PE. Bit of a squeaky bum time, but we'll see how it progresses, and if it doesn't work, then it is only one that I'll do it on. So as you can see from the stills, I had nothing to fear. The PE on the sprockets and the rear wheels went really well. I'm in the process of thinning out the plastic part to try and be the same sort of depth as the PE part, but I'll do that over a period of time because it's just a matter of trying to get it as thin as possible without breaking or damaging it. So that went well. I then moved on to the tracks. It's all Lincoln length, no real main issues. The biggest problem that I have is there are no track pins. So basically what I'm doing is over a period of time, each time I come to the bench, I don't know how well you can see that, but I'm putting little 0.5mm rivets on each of the links. Not too many to do, there's only about 386 to do, so it shouldn't take me too long. But yeah, that's the joys of doing small scale stuff. So that will come along, and that'll be a nice feature at the end. As you can see from the main body, that's coming along well. I've added the part fenders. They had to be trimmed back and just adjusted a little bit to fit in with this particular model, because they are actually designed for the 38T. But yeah, they look the part, very pleased with that. As you can see from the inside, I've done a little bit of scratch build detailing. There's a little radio set in there with some wires. I made a couple of ammo bins each side. You can also see the headphones there. And there's a little resin machine gun. Another little seat in there. And similarly on the other side. So that's coming on well. The actual main gun, the flak, the kit one was far too chunky. This is the pedestal for it. along with the base, and it's enormous. So I had to make some decisions on what I was going to do, and in the end I decided to buy another flak unit, and I bought the one from IBG. Went together beautifully. Very impressed. No issues at all. The barrel is from RB Tools. The only issue that I really had was that there were no rivet details, so I had to add on the rivets, which I hate doing onto PE because it's such a messy job and time consuming with all the cleaning up. But it looked fine once painted, but it is beautifully detailed, and a lot more in scale and a lot more detailed than the kit offering, so that's fine. The only thing I had to do was obviously I had to make another pedestal. I also added in the ammo bins, which are on the original vehicle, and if we put the kit part next to it, you can see what a difference in size it is. So gone a lot smaller, but a lot more accurate, and that will certainly look the part once all done. And now I'm basically working my way around doing all the tools. Here's a nice little example, which is the little toolbox with the clamp on top, or the jack I should say. All very fiddly, as you can tell. I can hardly hold the thing, but really nice detailed PE set from part, and I'm looking forward to doing the rest of the tools and all the clamps, etc. And apart from another little bit of detailing, that will probably be it. So coming along nicely. Okay, so the build is now complete. Yes, I know there's no wheels or tracks on it, and that's because I like to do all of that off the main model, and once weathered and pigmented I stick that all back on. The gun barrel, as you can see, comes off, so that would make ease of painting, and the central pillar as well comes out again for ease of painting. So yeah, not too bad. It's a bit of a toughie, but managed to get everything in place in the end, and looking forward to putting a coat of paint on this now. I've decided to go for the winter whitewash Russian front look, so all I need to do now is just to get this all cleaned up and get a coat of primer.
Is to clean up the model. This is just done with simple soap and water, and then the actual metal was primed using Mr. Metal primer, and then various cocktail sticks and tongue depressors along with some blue tack was used to fix everything into place to make life easier during the painting process. And the first thing to do was to add a layer of primer. Here I'm using Camo MIGS One Shot brown oxide, and the important thing here is to apply the primer in a very thin coat, let it dry, and then apply a thin coat again. And then once all of that's been done, I can then apply a couple of layers of hairspray, and that will enable me to do the hairspray technique and to add some little chips, etc., onto the edges and the worn areas. And then what I wanted to do was to add a three-tone camo scheme, and this would involve making some masks. Simple process. Just get some Tamiya tape, put it onto a piece of glass, then get a very sharp craft knife and create different forms based on research photos. And the important thing here is to cut each shape into two. So once you've done your shape, just slice it across, and then that shape will then have two colors on it, and that will be added to the base coat, which in this case was the Panzer olive, and the actual red color that was used was Hull red, and the yellow color was dark yellow, all from Vallejo. So there we have quite an assortment. Those were added on just in random patterns based on research. It's a fiddly job, and it's quite important to make sure that the mask is put on securely. Just make sure that all the air has come out and that the edges are tight, because what you don't want to do is have any paint flowing underneath the mask. And where possible, try and avoid difficult places to put the to mask, and also try and go over the joins wherever possible, just to add a little bit of interest to the actual camo pattern itself. And once you do all of that and you've done the airbrushing of the colours, it does come out quite effectively. In this particular instance, with the camo scheme that I actually chose, and the system that I was using, there was an actual case where I'd need to hand paint part of the mask, but other than that, there was no real issues, and it's quite effective, as you can see there, with the yellow of the interior as well as the main green colour. Just using washes of the whole red. What you don't want to do is to put it on neat, and then once one of the washes is dry, you just add another wash until you're happy with the effect. For me, I wanted to go for a winter whitewash look, so there wasn't a real necessity to be 100% perfect, but yeah, I was very pleased with the way it turned out, even to the extent that I was tempted not to actually put the winter whitewash on, but I wanted to stick with the original plan. But as you can see, the scheme turned out quite well. With the actual sides of the Flakpanzer, because of the amount of work that I was doing on that particular part of the model, I wanted to have all the flaps down. So looking at pictures, research, it does seem that the Flakpanzer crew actually painted the inside the same colour as the outside. So as you can see here, I'm doing a winter whitewash again with the hairspray technique, and it's a very simple process of just putting 2 layers of hairspray down, and then once dry, airbrushing on the white, and then putting some water on and using the brush, as you can see. So I was really pleased with the way the wheels came out. The winter whitewash worked well there, and as you can see with the rest of the body, it was a very good result, using the brush and a cocktail stick for some scratches. And as you can see, I'm now starting to do the detail painting, and I've masked off the area for the exhaust, so that the washes don't go onto the main bodywork. And again, the flak unit, very successful, very pleased with the way that all came out. And as you can see, I've started to do some of the detail painting on that as well. So this is with the detail painting finished, very straightforward, standard use of Vallejo paints. As you can see, the bogies have been done in rust colours. The tools, that's done with old wood, which will be enhanced later on with oils. The exhaust is just a matter of putting dark rust tones down, washes, and then just building up to the lighter colour. Very pleased with the way that turned out. And again, all of this acrylic work will be enhanced later on with the oil work. If you are going to do oil work, it is very important that you put down a layer or two of matte varnish, as this will protect all of your acrylic work, and you can do all your weathering with your oils, not having to worry about any issues with the paint peeling. And as you can see, the internal area has come up very well indeed. So all in all, very pleased with the way that came out. So what we now need to do is to add on the oils. I added a filter of dark sienna first, and then I've just done a pin wash of raw umber, just to start the process of getting a little bit dirty. Then what I did is did the pigments in the usual way, adding different types, and this was all sealed in using a buff oil wash, and the same process was done on the tracks. Add a little bit of white in there, obviously for the snowy conditions. Came out a little bit too sharp for me, so what I did was I got some oils and some enamels like engine oil, just to tone that all down a little bit, and the same again with the tracks, with the actual tracks with the pigments on one side. The other side actually had to have some metal paint put along the inside of the teeth to show where the wear and tear of the wheels was going to be. But again, very pleased with how that all turned out. And as you can see from these stills, that this was the finished pigment work. Also added some splatter marks on the tracks, again to help seal it all in. Very simple process, just using the back of a blade, getting some thinned down oil paints on the brush, and as you can see, just use dark, then light, then dark, then light, and just build up all those different tones on the tracks. And it's a very effective way of showing wear and tear on the actual tracks, and just adding another layer of detail and interest to the actual build. And also it helps seal in any leftover pigment that may not have been sealed initially with the oil wash that was done on the tracks initially. Same processes applied on the wheels, again just doing dark light washes, and just building up that layering process. I do like to add a buff colour onto the outside of the tyre, bit of a heavy wash, and then just get a piece of sponge it off, and that gives quite a nice effect. So again, very pleased with how all the wheels came out. Now, tracks are always a bit of a nightmare to put on. I like to fix the wheels in, make sure they're glued in dry, and then I add on the link length tracks using the rear idler as a loose wheel to help with the final fit. And it's just a matter of going around and adding a few more bits of oils, a bit more shading, a bit more light work, some streaks, etc., just to build up the colour and add some layering onto the actual finished model. And then the inside, well, put some pigments in there, and also some leaf litter, and that's all fixed in place with just some watered down matte varnish, and that just all adds a little bit of character. So what I'll do now is just leave you with a couple of videos so you can have a look over the actual model itself. This was a very tricky build. I did lose my mojo a little bit halfway through, but I managed to finish it off so it didn't become a shelf queen. And I'm pretty pleased with the final result, and in the end it was an enjoyable build. So what I'd like to do now is just to say thank you once again for all your continued support of my work, especially to all of my subscribers. Very humbled by the following that I now have, so thank you very much indeed for all of your support. I'm well underway now with my summertime project, which I'll hopefully share with you over the coming weeks. If you can take part in this group build, then please do so. As I've already said, the links are on the description, and it'd be great to see you join in with the fun. So for now, happy modelling.